Hey guys, so here's our latest installment of what's available from the self-defense training systems, best self-defense system in the world as far as I'm concerned. Today's one is self-defense training system versus assault rifle, shotgun and other long guns. Now, before I start all this, I'll leave a couple of good health tips at the end to keep you healthy while you're training, going to the gym, jogging, martial arts, whatever you're doing. Couple of good health tips at the end. Now, also I'd appreciate it heaps if you guys would if you're new and you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my subscribers. I'd like to thank my subscribers that have stayed with me because I haven't got the the greatest of equipment. I stutter and stumble through it. So I appreciate you guys, still with me. I've got lots to come. One thing I can promise you is that I'll be, producing as much as I can, along the way to hopefully help people. And, what I will say is, if you guys, can, like I say, can help me out by subscribing to my, people that already subscribed, thanks for sticking with me. Now look, you guys, people who don't know about the, they've kept up with my self-defense training things. They know that I like to help in other areas as well. So two fantastic things that you can, or a couple, 2 or 3 things that just, if you don't do anything else, I would, do some research on earthing and also shungite, 2 things that can help your health. And I'll give a couple of other things at the end of this video that I can think of that are very good for your health, and one potentially could, I'm not saying it will, but potentially could help with your wealth as well, if you do some research on that. So anyway, let's get into this. All other links for the self-defense company will be listed below. Links for the shungite below. List for the earthing below. Okay. So let's have a look at this. So this is, defense against long guns basically, but this is from Module 8, I think he says. Yep, Module 8. Attacker is trying to move you or intimidate you with their weapon. Now obviously they also go, this is for long guns, but they also have, handguns. Defenses against handguns. Now a lot of people say, oh, that won't work, you haven't got time to do all that. There are links, I think they're in there. There are links among my videos there that the guys that have practiced it and train with it, they actually say that when it's a big confidence booster when you find out, because they've trained with BB guns and you can actually do it without getting hit all these moves. Now the other thing is, once you do these, you don't just stop. It's obviously he's got a gun. You've got to finish it. You've got a gun in your head. You don't just whack the gun away and say, "Aha, you missed, mate." Obviously they're out to kill you. So you've pretty much got to do whatever it takes. You don't just whack the gun away and hit him once and say, wait for him to shoot you. You obviously keep going until he's incapable of doing anything else. So anyway, let's have a look at this. Got to get the screen right. Got to get the sound right. Don't forget, guys, I'll leave a couple of good health tips at the end as well.
Worry about grabs so much. Okay, and you know, whether whatever way you go, as long as you're comfortable with it. Okay, he's got a good grip on the gun. It's under his arm. It's good. It's nice and tight. Okay, so from here, same motion. Boom. Again, once we get past the point of the weapon, we're fine. We clear it. Hack, 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 hack. Again, with you know, your adrenaline rush, you know, you're probably going to experience auditory exclusion. You know, you may get your ears ringing, but you're probably not even going to hear this stuff. So don't mean anything fancy. You know, it's just nonsense. So same thing that we were just doing. This is the same gross body movement. Same gross body movement. Okay? Again, if he's at a distance, it's a bigger problem. Okay, but as long as you can get your forearm to the weapon, you're fine. And then move. Okay. Next is just going to be that gun to the throat. Okay. So here, again, it's going to be sticking up here. Short chop, short edge of hand. Same as we were doing before. So here, hack, here. Okay. Again, here to my, you know, sticking it in a link. That's it. Okay. If you can also, just as a note, if you're here, hook it too. You can hook it. If you happen, you know, if you want to, as an alternate, train it, fine. Hook it. So here. But personally, it's just getting out of the way and attacking. So now, the firearm to your head again. Okay, to the front. Here. Same thing. You don't need to do, you know, Steven Seagal, you know, and do a, come on. Okay, please. So, keep it nice and simple. Here, get out of the way. Past the weapon. And as you would chop and attack, you're moving into the man. Move into him. Do not make the mistake on all of these to stay here. Okay? Because then, you know, you get all kinds of buckshot or slugs coming out of there. So make sure you move in. As he tries to recover, you know, you're just beating him. Multiples. Okay, he's got the weapon wherever it is. Again, I may just have to grab it and then stomp and work into him. Then I can deal with him. Then you can deal with him. So, you know, this coming in, grabbing the weapon. Hey, it's your best chance. So, for all the possible attacks from the front, you know, with the 3 different types of weapons, that's it. Really, a couple of different sets of, a few different ways to clear the weapon, and then apply what you already know. Next, we're going to move to static attacks from the rear.
Okay, so that's a long gun. Now, they cover, you know, rear attacks, side attacks, short, what do you call them, just about said hand cannons, handguns. So but everything's covered in that module 8, how to defend against it all. You know, from the rear, guns in the back of your head, and the long guns in the back of your head, and hand guns in the back of your head, even knives and sticks, and it's all the same. Exactly the same how you clear it. You don't want 50,000 different moves for 50,000 different attacks. You'll never remember them. So anyway, guys, back to these 2 health tips. Okay. what you want to do, some stage, most people that get interested in martial arts and all that, some stage they want to know about life force energy, chi, whatever you want to call it, to help with the for overall health, well-being. You want to stick a because chi likes to move. Okay. Now, people might not believe in chi. Well, you know, the Chinese have been into this stuff for thousands of years, not just a couple of hundred years. And there's enough evidence. Some people can see chi. Sometimes I see it in the form of auras and bits and pieces like that. You know, just the other day I saw this woman had, you know, without getting too airy-fairy about it, these things just, to me, they're real. I remember when my son was younger, he was a baby, and he was crawling across the floor, and he had like a purple smoke trailing behind him. You know, because I would say that he's got a you know, well, not purple, but what do you call it, indigo trail of smoke going behind him. So I would say he'd have an indigo. His main color aura would be indigo. Sort of like a light, what do you call it, lavender. Lavender is what I best describe it as. Just the other day I saw a woman that I knew, funnily enough, and when my son was young, I could absolutely feel the chi, especially above his head, because that's one of the main entry points of chi going into your head. There's a tube going right down the middle of your body. When he was younger, I think we're both attuned to each other now, but when he was younger especially, man, he used to sit next to me and I could absolutely feel his chi. If I accidentally moved over his head at all, you know, I would feel his chi going into his body, and I suspect that's why I'm in New Zealand here. I suspect that's why you know, Maori culture, people here, it's, you know, it's you're not allowed to really you know, move anything across a person's head, you know, like food, you know. I suspect that's why that's in the culture. But yeah, another time, like I was saying, this woman, it's funny because I used to sometimes go and see her husband, who was a panel beater, to have a talk with him. He was a nice guy, sometimes fixed my car, but they had a son. And one particular day I was doing something, and I reached over, and I was my sort of like my body was across the top of where his son's the chi going into his son's body was, and I was reaching over to get something from him, and his son was in between us, and I could absolutely feel the chi going into his son's head. And those are the only times I've, you know, it seems to be mostly, you know, around young people that I feel the chi. Anyway, this was his partner. One day I was getting petrol for my car, and I'd sort of left this town where this panel beating guy was, and we used to talk. I'd left, hadn't seen his partner, this woman, for a while. And anyway, she was walking across the, you know, she'd just paid for petrol, and I looked at her head, and I can clearly see a violet, definitely a violet haze, energy right around her head. I had to look carefully, and I said to my son, "Has she got purple hair?" And my son said no. So just to verify that it was a actual, you know, violet color that I saw around her head. So anyway, guys, there's you know, I know that these things exist. So one way to like keep and because chi likes to move, doesn't like to be stagnant, and one way to keep the chi moving around in your house, That's why people have goldfish, because it moves the chi, keeps moving the chi around. So what you want to do is get a indoor water fountain. Put that inside, and that keeps the energy flowing inside. Now what you want to do, if you really want to get into it, is look into a thing called Feng Shui, Fenggshui. Now what you'll find out, and this is what I was saying at the beginning of the video, that these things might actually help you with your health and wealth. In Feng Shui, which is a old Chinese belief system, I think it's pretty sure it's Chinese. Your house is divided up into certain areas, you know, and depending on where you put your water fountain, like each house will have a, so just look up Feng Shui and you'll get a thing called a bagua, I think it is, in the shape of a eight-sided octagon thing, and it's all divided up into different areas of your house. You lay the octagon on your house. There'll be certain areas for your health, certain areas for your wealth. So if you want to make sure your health is always good and make sure you always got money coming in, put the water fountain you know, in the health area, or get a couple and put one in the health area, one in the wealth area, and you know, you should you know, well, I don't know if it'll make you millions, it might, but it'll keep, you know, keep the energy of money and health or whatever you want flowing. Now, another thing you can do, just quickly guys, is get what's known as a salt lamp, Himalayan salt lamp. What it is, it's a lamp. You can put a bulb up inside it. It's basically this crystal, the Himalayan salt, which comes from the Himalayas. It's taken millions of years to make. You stick a bulb up inside that, it puts off a beautiful orange glow. Now, I made another video of blue. There's this thing we get from screens. It's blue, and at night time it's not too good. It stops you from producing serotonin, melatonin. So the one thing the crystal does, the Himalayan crystal lamp, so they're called salt lamps. You want to check it out. I've actually made a video a couple back on salt lamps. You want to get one. The glow from that is the opposite of what the blue does at night. The glow, the orange glow, helps to soothe you, relax you, etc. Now it puts out, you might want to Google it, puts out a thing called negative ions, which these ions help to keep you healthy, they help to keep you relaxed, they just, you know, they get rid of such, you know, help to get rid of allergies, and once again keep the environment as pure as possible. Basically, what happens when you go down the beach is you'll get why people feel so good down the beach is the negative ions caused from the water, the air, the sun. Negative ions, you want to look it up. So there's two health tips. Get yourself a indoor water fountain, get yourself a Himalayan salt lamp. Until next time.